This is my 1 Series. God, that feels so corny. And in the last 3 months, she has gone through some pretty major changes. Bit of a looker, ain't she? We ended up swapping out the rear subframe bushings, motor mounts, trans mounts, diff mounts, put braided brake lines, discs, fluid, pads, new sway bars front and rear, KW suspension all around, Vorslide camber plates, and an LSD. And that's just the start of it. But if you've been following the car for a while, you'll know that the most recent cosmetic change happened when we decided to get rid of all of the stickers. Finally. I mean, the car just looks so much better with factory paint exposed. But if you guys remember, there's also one more thing we did at the very end of last year that changed this car cosmetically. And that was we swapped for a 1M style front bumper. And since I've had it on here, the 1M style front bumper has actually grown on me a ton. And I think it really works with darker colored paint colors like this red one here. But since we're not going full 1M big boy wide fenders and all that kind of stuff yet, I've always felt like the 1M style bumper is just missing something to tie it in a little bit. Luckily for me, and for everyone watching this, I know exactly what you need, and that is cheap eBay parts. I know. Before you guys flame me in the comments, let me just point something out. The reality of the matter is, I know these parts are gonna be super cheap and flimsy, but if you know me, and for those of you who don't, I have a bit of a history of breaking things. Long story short, this is bumper number 3 on this car. Hopefully it will stay at number 3. And yeah, I think in my case, cheapness is actually gonna be a bit of a good thing here, at least for my bank account's sake. Nevertheless, let's not delay this video any longer. Let's race home and get the new parts on the car. Now then, since this is very obviously an educational channel, and I have what some, maybe most, might consider to be an incredibly technologically and mechanically inclined brain, perhaps one of the most inclined in the internet, I see no issue trying to install this myself. Jokes aside, it really should be pretty straightforward. I'm just gonna do some double-sided tape and some screws, and we'll be good to go. When it comes to shopping around for splitters or any part for that matter, there's a couple of main considerations you need to take into account. And for me, there's kind of 3 main buckets. The first of which being fitment. In a nutshell, you're essentially just asking yourself, is it going to require any modification? Basically just, was it designed for the car that you're putting it on? Think exhausts, camber plates, suspension, all of that stuff sort of just bolts right in. You don't have to do anything to it. And in my case, the answer to the fitment question is only sort of. Unfortunately, we've gone a little bit more of a budget option, but these are not too far off. They're the same length of the side skirt, for anyone interested, is exactly 77 inches. And then on the front, since we have the 1M style front bumper, all of the little like shapes here is pretty much identical to a 1M bumper. The only difference being the sides are just a little bit more squidged in. What that means, you can shop for literally any 1M splitter and it's going to mount up just fine. You just have to be cognizant of how far off to each of the sides. And for anyone wondering what that dimension is, it's exactly 64 3/4 inches. For you metric folk, that's about 162 centimeters. The next consideration I made when shopping around for splitters was style. And in this case, this is actually the primary consideration for what I was shopping around. And you see, in the world of like hypercars and carbon fiber this, carbon fiber that, my Sunday drives up and down the coast are not gonna feel any better with 15 grams worth of carbon fiber savings. So I've opted not to go the carbon fiber route. And of course, the other reason we ended up going with gloss black is because I wanted something that would be able to match all the way around. So I now have a gloss black front splitter, gloss black side skirts, side mirrors, window trim, and gloss black kidney grills. So it kind of all matches and ties into the build. And the third and final consideration, which I am now dubbing the pain in the ass consideration, is essentially just that. How much of a pain in the ass is it gonna be to try and fit this car? And it kind of goes hand in hand with the fitment point. Yeah, essentially, how much of my car am I gonna have to up in order to make this part work? In the case of motor mounts, it's a significant yes, but I would say totally worth it. So in this case, only a minor inconvenience, drilling a couple of holes with some double-sided tape, but otherwise, compared to what we've done with this car so far, I'm gonna say this is on the lighter end of the spectrum. And with that, I think it's time we break out the double-sided tape and get these things mounted up. All right, sorry for the abbreviated installation there, but it's actually like 2 days later. The splitter and side skirts are officially on the car, and they're not bad, actually. I will say the side skirts are like not very pronounced at all. You can barely even see them down here, but yeah, I mean, they do something. There's a good chance I end up finding a thicker set and replacing them, but the front splitter is not actually all that bad. It wasn't, you know, ideal fitment, but also I think there's a bit of an element of you get what you pay for. This kind of like ties in the style of the front bumper, kind of the way I had envisioned. So yeah, I'm pleased with how they've mounted up. I'll stop talking and let you guys form an opinion for yourselves.
215s in the back of the old school lot, but you know it ain't dumb enough. Shawty on the 15 floor in the plane with a pussy, yeah, finna come up. Knocked it down on the bed and caught that head, she one hit once. A big old bag today, it's me on yacht, boy, better go keep up. Got my Glocky clipped to the hip just like a goddamn beeper. Shawty all in my face and shit, I don't know where I meet you. Tryna play tough guy and shit, you know I come and see you. They gon' try to take it all, try to put some fear in me. My 9mm, that's my damn security. Hearthstone president, you more like Hillary. I paint the picture vividly, she love my imagery.